Hi friends, today we're starting something new and we're going to be measuring by with length, and a length is how long something is, not how tall it is. And I have a cute story. It's not a cute story, but it's units of measure, and there's different things we can measure. And so I'm going to read it and show you the pictures. It says, what kind of measurements are there? And there's a little girl helping measure. It looks like she's got a tape measure and is helping Mom measure something out. Now, it says we use centimeters or inches to measure things that are small. Now, here where we live in the United States, most of the time we use inches. In other countries around the world, they use the metric system, which is centimeters. But right here, so when we want to measure something small, we're going to use inches. We're not going to use like a whole ruler. That wouldn't make sense. And look at buttons, butterfly, a puppy, a ball. You'd be able to measure in inches. We use feet, meters, or yards when it's big or tall for the height of a building or the width of a wall. So again, for something we would have to think about that. Would we really want to use inches to measure? Remember we talked about in inches about this big on your finger. And so you wouldn't want to measure a building using inches. Kilometers or miles measure distances that are far, whether you hike, bike, or ride along in a car. And sometimes when you're taking a walk, it seems like it's forever. So you would measure those in miles, or if you're going to visit somebody or maybe go on vacation, then you see how many miles it is to get to your location. A feather, a frog, or a ball that bounces can all be weighed in grams or ounces. And so when something is very, very light, we call it ounces, and you could lift it and you can weigh it, how many ounces something weighs. Heavier things are weighed in kilograms or pounds, like the big orange pumpkins these children have found. And those look pretty big. I wonder how many pounds it weighs. Just like you, we talked about weight and how much you weigh. You would talk about pounds as the label. Milliliters, cups, and pints fill small things without fail, while liters, quarts, and gallons can fill a bottle or a pail. And I always think like a cup of juice, or you might need a cup to put when you're baking or cooking something. And gallons, think about a gallon of milk. That's a lot of liquid in there. And so there's the different things you can measure with liquid things as well. It's not always a solid object. You can measure liquids. Which units could measure the beak of each bird? So let's think about that. We probably use inches for that. How about the distance run by this herd, the wild horses? You probably use how many miles they could run. Which units could measure the Eiffel Tower, the weight of a duck, the height of a flower? An inch, a foot, a meter, a mile, which could measure the width of this smile? It's a cute little story talking about measurement, because I always think, or when we talk about measuring, we always think about using a ruler, but there are other ways you could measure. Today our lesson 7.12 has some vocabulary. Compare. We talked about comparing things, or the attributes. You can compare what's alike, what's different. You could see which one's longer, which one's shorter. Order. Put them in order. Longer, longest, and the suffix, that ER or the EST. This one is longer. This is the longest. Or shorter and shortest. So those are some words I'll be using when we're doing measuring. And again, today we're going to order. We're going to put it in order by length. We're going to talk about that. Now, Mrs. B had to be very creative. At school, I have lots of stuff Today we're going to put, I was digging around the house, Mr. B was helping me, and I have 3 learning tools I had because I brought them from school. And let's see, I'm going to tape up, hold on, there's a green marker. There's, oh, little colored pencil. Let's see if I can get that up there. There. And the last one is a smelling marker, the blue smelling marker. Oop, I need a little bit longer tape. Now, if you noticed, when I put these up here, when you're measuring things, you have to be really careful that they are aligned. Because look at, if I did this, well, geez, that one looks really long, but it's not. You have to make sure they're lined up. Be very careful. That's pretty good. All right, now if I was going to number these from longest to shortest, sorry, I'm looking, there we go. From longest to shortest, I'm going to put a number 1 by the longest. And I'm looking and I'm comparing them. I'm looking at them. They're all lined up. Which one is the longest? I'm going to put a number 1. It's the colored pencil. Ooh, which is the second longest? This would be the second longest. And then the blue marker is the shortest. And so long, this is long, longer, and then the shortest. So here's number 1, that's the longest. Number 2 is the marker. Number 3 is the smelling marker. All right, let's try something else. Your homework tonight has this on there where you're going to be doing some comparing, and you're going to be putting in order, put numbers, which is the longest and which is the shortest. All right, here we go. I was digging in my silverware drawer, and I have a, I hope the tape holds it. I have a knife, a butter knife. Hey there, butter knife. I have a fork. I have a spoon. You can make a prediction. Which one do you think is the longest and which one is the shortest? You can do this at home too. You could find some things around your house, some toys, and you can compare them from longest to shortest. Again, when I'm measuring though, and when I'm lining them up, they have to be even. Otherwise, you won't be sure which one. And here's my, this time we're going to do it differently. We talked about longest to shortest. Now we're going to label it shortest to longest. So look at, there's the spoon, the fork, and the knife. I'm going to put a number 1 by the shortest one. And then I'm looking, I'm comparing, I'm seeing, so the spoon is the shortest, the fork is the next shortest, and the knife is the longest. And I think it would be fun to look around, get some stuffed animals and put them in order. But again, when you're checking, you have to make sure they're nice and neat, where the end is all even like this. Otherwise, it could trick you a little bit. All right, homework today is on page 175, and 176 is the remembering page. All right, good luck, and try to do this at home. Find some things and measure from longest to shortest or shortest to longest. I'll see you soon.